I'm sitting here now with General Akil Hashem. He was for 27 years in the Syrian army. He now lives in the United States. I wanted to ask you about a phenomenon that we're hearing these days, Shabiha.
Shabiha.
Who are these paramilitaries who've been unleashed in Syria?
The core of this organization was a group of criminals and smugglers under the commanding of Muhammad al-Assad and Fawaz al-Assad.
These are cousins of the president.
Cousins of the president. And they went out of order. So Hafiz Assad himself has to fight them because they smuggled, they killed, they kidnapped,
they were out of control.
Out of control. And they had their own port in the Syrian coast.
It was a bit like a mafia?
Exactly like a mafia. Using the influence of the family, because Assad name with them, which this can open the doors for you in Syria to do anything you want, and using their power, and they control the cigarette smuggling in Syria at all.
But now they're doing something much worse. Eyewitnesses are saying these people are coming in at point-blank range, killing men, women, and children.
They slaughter children. They rape 4 years old and 8 years old. It happened so many times.
But why?
The Al-Hula massacre is just one among hundreds of massacres happened. Why? First of all, they are criminals. Second, they enjoy killing. Third, they get money. They get paid for that. Let me explain one thing.
Are they sent out by the Assad regime?
For sure, they work under his command directly. They were supported. They were armed by the regime himself. Most of them now, after this old organization was, almost destroyed, they brought it back, regrouped it, and then they released like thousands of criminals, very bad criminals, killers, rapers, everything like that, and they put them with this organization, and they give them money, give them weapons, and they let them do anything they want.
Why? Why isn't the army enough?
First of all, they thought that this Shabiha organization was enough by itself to put an end to the revolution first or second month. Then when the revolution spread out all over Syria, they had to use the army. So they used the Shabiha before the army. But still, they send the Shabiha because they are killers. They send the troops behind them to protect them and or to
give cover.
Cover and or pave the way for them. And then these people will kill without any hesitation. Don't forget that in the army there are so many people, Alawis or Sunni, or different. They don't like to kill, they cannot kill. But these people, they kill for pleasure.
You were in the army. You've been in the army 27 years. How can this army turn on its own people?
Because Hafiz Assad made sure from the very beginning on two things in the army. First, the sectarianism, because he did something very important. He put the commanders from his sect, the Alawite, everywhere, in the armed forces, in the intelligence agencies, everywhere. So to gain the loyalty of them, he established the 4th division, which was called Saraya Diva before of Rafat al-Assad, and then established the Presidential Guard. These are two completely big units, like each one over 25,000 with hundreds of tanks, and they are all loyal because they are, most of them, 80% from the same sect, and they're all career officers and sergeants, not like the other division of the army where the main source of their population, the other division, is the compulsory military service.
Will Syria, let's say this develops to a full-scale civil war and Assad is gone. What will Syria be like after Assad?
Of course, by the crimes committed every single day, now we see a reaction from the same kind. But this is deliberately the policy of the regime. He wanted to force people to do this act because for the first 10 months, they never reacted to the killing of the Sunni. And the Sunni
protesters.
The protesters kept saying Sunni, Alawi, we are one people, and something like that. They never, but at the end, it went out of control. How could I, for example, if I was, see my children, my grandchildren slaughtered, or my daughter raped, and then I will keep my control, keep calm about that. So now there is some reaction. I know that. It is bad. It is very bad. But when this regime will fall, then the Syrian people in majority will return back to their sense and they will stop this massacre. But there is another thing. The regime wants this sectarian clashes to continue between two sects because he's thinking that the only way for the regime to stay in power is to establish a zone for himself like independent country in the seaside or the coast side of Syria in the department of Latakia and Tartus and some part of Homs. So he dreams and to establish his own country like Lebanon, like any other country. But guess why? This is the most important thing, and this is what I answered you in your interview. Because it is not like Tunisia, 7, 10, 20 people from the family of the president go out and then there is no regime. Or in Egypt, 200, 300. It is completely different. Here there is establishment. It is a coalition between wealth and power. A huge establishment. I believe like 20,000 people are benefiting of this regime in a very high way. Or they accumulated billions of dollars in this corruption time. And then they cannot. If Assad leaves, they don't leave. So this is the only way to accommodate.
So they'll fight to the death.
Yes. No. Or to establish their own country to, divide
Sounds
Syria.
crazy.
That's crazy, very crazy. Actually, France tried to divide Syria to 4 different countries. One of them a white country, but they failed.
Is Assad a reformer? Can he be a reformer?
No way! No way! He cannot. He cannot do anything. From the very beginning, some people are innocent, naive. They said, we hope that this guy came from London, is a doctor, can do. I explained to everybody this example. If Bashar al-Assad is a reformer, let's consider the corruption or the bad thing in Syria is a branch of tree, big one, and he has to cut it to be a reformer. But he went with SO, climbed the tree, and he wanted to cut the branch, but he was sitting on the other side. So when the branch will fall down, he will fall down with it. This is the only way. If he's going to reformer, the first reform he has to do is to give up the power. So there is no way.
Any way for the uprising to succeed without outside intervention?
As I said, it's very difficult to succeed, but it is for sure 100% will not stop. So the only way, if there is no intervention, that people will sacrifice lives after lives after lives, and you know what? This will escalate. Now massacres of 100, 110. The next near future, it will be by 1,000. And mark my words. Eventually, the regime will start using the air forces, not the helicopters, the air forces to bomb the cities and villages and towns, to bomb the masses of the people demonstrating and killing by 1,000. He will do that. And he thinks that he can put an end to this revolution, but he's stupidly mistaken.
And he's not afraid of anybody intervening against him?
So far, he thinks that without Security Council resolution, there is no intervention, and he is depending on Russia. Russia is using this regime as a playing card, to negotiate or to get some benefits from the West. You know that. You know the story of the anti-missiles wall. They want this not to be happen. There is so many other things between Russia and the West.
From your perspective, I mean, I believe most of the Syrian weapons are from Russia. It's got, what is it, a T-72 tanks. Yeah. It's got the anti-aircraft. Is the Syrian military still pretty old?
Yes, because the T-71 came to Syria. First of all, why it is 71? Because it was designed and went out of the factory in 1972. And 62, T-62 from 1962. And 55, it's the year of production. Okay, so this was manufactured 1972. Now we are in 2012. So it is 40 years ago. And the Air Force is the same thing. And all these, like if you hear about the BMB, which is very well-armed vehicle, it's all belong to that 70s.
So it's no match for the US or even Turkey.
And even Turkey, yes, there is no match at all. And it doesn't matter the numbers. They have like 300,000 personnel in the army, but it's nothing. The most important thing, the leadership, which they lack completely, and the willing to sacrifice, which they lack completely, and the morals, which they lack completely.
General Hashem, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're more than welcome.